Welcome all audio nerds to the Audio Hotline. The reason we have 3 different angles today is because I'm going to be showing you 2 desktop boom arms. This one right here is the Røde PSA1, and this one is the Auray BAI-2N. So one night I was just looking on B&H's website just for fun. I was just looking at desktop boom arms just like out of curiosity if anything else new came out. I had been using the Røde PSA1 like pretty much exclusively, and I like it. I do like it. But there were some things that, irked me a little bit. Like, for instance, if you don't have a microphone on this and you're not holding this down, you might get slapped in the face. This thing springs up quick. So I use a gear tie to kind of like not make it do that. But here's an example. Quick example. Holy hell! I've been hit by that a couple times, if I'm going to be real. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, easy solution. Put a microphone on it. But with how much I switch microphones, I decided I just wanted to pull the microphone off of the stand every time, put it in its own designated storage container away from dust and anything like that. So the fact that this would just flop up, just freaking erect every time that this didn't have a microphone on it was a bit of a bummer for me, but then I did the whole gear tie thing and it was fine, whatever. But that's the thing though, with this Røde PSA1 arm, I feel like it was kind of hard to get it in position and to have it stay in position, especially if you were working with like a pretty light microphone or a microphone that was just a little too heavy. So the thing that really interested me when it came to the Auray BAI-2N, I'm just going to call it the BAI-2N because that's just so much easier. When it came to the BAI-2N, I was kind of curious if it would stay down, and it does. It does stay down. It doesn't flop up. I don't have anything on this right now. But another thing that kind of sparked my interest was finding a desktop boom arm that could handle a little bit more weight than the Røde PSA1. And I know what you're thinking, like, how much weight do you need it to hold, man? Like, it's just a microphone. That is true, but I do feel like when you get a big shock mount and a big microphone on the Røde PSA, it does kind of struggle. Like, for instance, with the King B. It can handle it fine. It's okay. It does struggle a little bit. So the Røde PSA1 can handle 2.4 pounds. But the Auray, when I was looking at the specs, it can actually hold 5 pounds. So that was a little interesting to me that this could hold double the weight at the exact same price as the Røde PSA1. But then I started thinking like maybe the build quality isn't as good. Maybe that 5 pound is a bit of an exaggeration. I don't know. So then I just ended up getting a hold of my boy Izzy over at B&H. So then I was like, hey man, can you send me over the Auray BAI-2N? And he was like, I got you, brother. It's on the way. He didn't say any of that, but in my mind he did. So a big thank you to B&H for sending me the Auray BAI-2N. I really appreciate all the things that they do for this channel. They have been super generous. But there's one other thing that I am not mentioning about this product that basically made me want to get it. And that's this. This right here. You're probably like, dude, that's a bar. Like maybe you could beat someone with it. But this is an extension tube. So what you do is you put this in first, then you put this guy on top of it, and look at how sweet that is. With this, I just feel like you have so much more versatility to put it wherever you want. So not only do you get the stand and everything with this $100 purchase, you also do get this extension rod. But before I start comparing these two, I do want to just quickly go over what you get with each of these products. With the Røde PSA1 Studio Boom Arm, you will get a desk mounting system. You will also get another mounting system that will allow you to permanently install this into your desk. You will get some Velcro ties for cable management, as well as a 3/8" adapter. And of course, you get the boom arm itself, the Røde PSA1. Now with the Auray BAI-2N, you will get a similar desktop mounting system. You will get some extra screws in case you actually want to permanently install this into your desk. You will get the extension rod in case you want your boom arm up a little bit higher. And this boom arm features a standard microphone thread of 5/8". So when it comes to these two products, you can do very similar things. You can put it on the edge of your desk and just tighten it so it stays there, or you can permanently install it. Now, the only couple differences between these two are the fact that the Auray comes with the extension tube. The Auray has a permanent microphone thread of 5/8", when the Røde PSA1 actually comes with a 3/8", but then comes with the 5/8" adapter. Now, neither of these really bug me because one way or another, I'm gonna have to use an adapter in certain circumstances. I will say that I do wish that they would have included like a 5/8 inch to 3/8 inch, but either way, certain people, certain circumstances are gonna have to use an adapter. But when it comes to the build quality of these, if I was to hand you one of them and then hand you the other and I didn't tell you which was which, I think you'd have a very hard time telling a difference. I will say that the screws up by the microphone thread are much nicer on the Røde PSA1 compared to this plastic screw right here. The mounting systems are slightly different. You do get an extra screw right here at the bottom of the Auray, and on the Røde it does not have that. It just spins freely. But in reality, given the build quality, both of these asking for $100 is very reasonable. So now that we've talked about what comes with this and like the build quality and everything, I want to do just a couple tests and just see how these stands can handle certain microphones and certain weights. But for now, I'm going to take the extension rod off of that and we'll test that here in a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is put the Røde PodMic, since this is a very popular microphone right now, I want to put it on each of these boom stands, just see how it feels, how it moves. The Røde PodMic is just slightly over 2 pounds by just 0.4 ounces. So now I do have the Røde PodMic plugged in and everything, ready to go. That's one thing I'll definitely say about the Røde PSA1 is it feels so smooth. Like when you're pulling this up to your mouth and there's like an actual microphone on it, weighing it down so it doesn't smack you in the face hole, it feels great. So now I'm just going to kind of move it and see how it handles the microphone a little bit. You can definitely move this into any position you want, and it's going to handle it well. It feels very solid. Now let's go ahead and try it with the Auray, see how it feels. All right, there's the Auray. So the Auray actually does have more reach. I was wondering why it felt like it's so much closer now. This actually does have a reach of 40 inches, and the Røde PSA1 has a reach of 32 horizontally and 33 vertically. And that's one thing I do like about this microphone too, is I feel like it's a lot easier to do this. You can put this like in any position like this, and I like that. I feel like with the Røde, it's a lot harder to do that. It definitely does feel like a little bit more stiff in general though, I will say. It feels fine though. I do feel like since they put the screw down here and this whole tightening system, it creates a little bit of a problem in the sense that the Røde PSA can just turn so easily, and this one can't turn as easily because it's kind of fighting that whole tightening system down there. I don't know how I feel about that. It doesn't bug me in the sense that if I get this into position, I can just screw this and then I know it's not going to go anywhere, which is really nice. I mean, I guess that's just a personal preference thing. This definitely slides around a lot easier, and whether that would bug you or not, your call, man. So with that test, I do feel like the Røde PSA had a little bit of an advantage in the sense that it feels a little bit more smooth, and like when you move it, it will stay in position, but you do need a microphone that is heavy enough, but not too heavy to like really make that happen. But that is one cool thing about the Auray though, is even if you didn't have a microphone on this, you could move it into whatever position you want and it's gonna stay that way. Now I do want to try a microphone that's a lot lighter just to see how both of them handle it. The Behringer XM8500 is actually 10.7 ounces. Now we have the Behringer XM8500 on the Røde PSA1. This isn't like the most insanely light microphone ever, but it's pretty light. I'm a little worried that this is gonna spring up with this microphone on. I don't know if this is enough weight for the Røde PSA1 or not. So I'm gonna put it in its storage position and we'll see if it can. That's a no. In fact, where I want it to stay at my mouth, it won't do. See if I straighten it out a little bit. No. If you do push this back as far as you can, it kind of stays where I need it, but not super well. All right, now here is the Behringer XM8500 with the Auray, and I'm just joking, I don't even need to hold it. But let's go ahead and put it into the storage position real quick and see if it can hold it. What do you know? It can actually hold it. All right, but can it go directly up to my mouth with no issues? Yes, it can. You can spin it all around. Very nice. There's really just no position that this won't hold, even if there isn't a microphone on it, unlike the Røde PSA1 that does that constantly. All right, now let's go ahead and grab the King B. The King B does come in at 2 pounds and 8.4 ounces, so this is actually over the weight that the Røde PSA1 is supposed to be able to handle at 2.4 pounds. So now I have the King B attached to the Røde PSA1, And it doesn't feel super sturdy, but let's give this a shot. Let's put it in the storage position. Feels fine. I'm going to move it up to my mouth. Oh, that wasn't the best. Okay, it's fine. It works. It's okay. It should be able to handle it maybe, but it's kind of creaking a little bit, I'll say. Let's move it around. It can definitely hold it, but anytime you get over basically 90 degrees, it just puts it down under 90 degrees. It can't quite handle that. But now that we've seen how it kind of responds with the PSA1, let's go ahead and move over to the Auray. I'm going to go ahead and put this in some different positions, see if it can handle it pretty well. This thing has some serious reach. This can handle the weight of the King Bee just no problem whatsoever. See, one thing that I do like about the Auray, especially with condenser microphones, is you can turn it to the side a little bit more. And when I'm talking about how I like that this one swivels, this one doesn't really do that. But the biggest issue with it is actually just the fact that this is just too close together. So you kind of have an issue moving the microphone around, but that's not an issue at all on the Auray because there's actually some distance there. As far as weight goes, it handled the King Bee no problem, and I do think it could handle 5 pounds. So I actually did rig something up with the PodMic that's so stupid, but we're gonna try it anyway. I could just get a 5-pound dumbbell, but where's the fun in that? Obviously, this is not scientific, and I actually think that this goes over weight. I think it's 5.2 pounds. But we'll see if it can handle it. So I'm going to clamp the bottom of this little arm onto right here and see if it can mount both of these microphones at the same time in case you want to get this set up. All right, now I have it set up. Here's the moment of truth. I'm going to let it just stand on its own. Here we go. Wow, it can actually do it. So being able to handle 5 pounds was not a lie. Auray was right about that. It can actually handle a little bit more than 5 pounds. This might look a little weird. It's just literally my camera zoomed in on a pole right now, but this is the extension rod that comes with the Auray. What I want to do is just test if this bends or bows at all when I put some weight on it. I'm going to use the King Bee because I feel like if it can handle that, it should be able to handle a majority of microphones. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the King Bee on the Auray and we'll see if this extension rod can handle the weight. So I don't feel like this has bent, but maybe you saw something that I didn't. I'm not sure, but this is how the King Bee is set up right now. It's just in the storage position. I know that's a little bit of a dark scene, but I think you get it. So I feel like this would be a pretty normal way for this to be set up if you wanted to just be standing and using a boom arm. So with this, I do feel like it bends just ever so slightly, but I don't feel like it's substantial enough to like really do damage to that extension rod. It's built pretty well. So my final thoughts on the extension rod is that it definitely does work. I do think it bends a little bit, but I think it would be fine. I don't think you're going to permanently damage the extension rod or anything else for that matter if you were to use a microphone like the King Bee or lighter. Well, now that we've tested these two boom arms out with some different weights from different microphones, I'm going to go ahead and give you my review of the Auray BAI-2N versus the Røde PSA1. Personally, for me, I think that the Auray is the right choice. I like the extra reach and I like that it can handle more weight. I do think that this is built really well. I will say that I really do love the way that the Røde just moves around so nicely and it feels very smooth, but overall it just can't pack the same weight punch that the Auray can. The Røde could definitely handle the King Bee, but it seemed like it was struggling. It was just ever so slightly dipping when I'd let go of it and everything. But this, you saw what this can handle. Like, oh my gosh. There are definitely pros and cons to both of them, and I think that both of them are very solid products, especially for $100. Personally, I've been using a pretty traditional microphone stand for this channel, just because it stays out of the shot. It's easier to get the microphone wherever I need it to be, and they tend to be a little bit stronger. But this Auray might take the place of my Hercules mic stand in some reviews. But based off of these different advantages, I would just say pick the right microphone stand for you. But for me, the fact that this head can kind of like articulate really well, and I can get the microphone wherever I want it to be, that's really nice. The extra reach is really nice. The extension tube, so I could use this if I was like standing up, or I could potentially boom a mic overhead, you know, like that's just, oh, that's just so nice. But I do appreciate the sleekness of the Røde PSA1. It feels really nice just like moving it around. I would say it feels like a little less clunky than the Auray, but overall I would say that the Auray has some advantages that I personally prefer. Thank you all for watching this comparison of the Røde PSA1 boom arm and the Auray BAI-2N. I hope that it helped you out, helped you decide which one you want to get, but most of all, I hope you had fun. Stay tuned for a lot more reviews and comparisons and other audio-related videos, and thank you to B&H once again for sending me the Auray. I really do appreciate them and all that they do, and thank you to all of my subscribers. You are the best, and thank you for watching the Audio Hotline. I'll see you audio nerds next time.